Hello, it's time for another episode of Discipleship Today. My name is Bob Benson. I pastor Christ Lutheran Church in Bemis Point. We've been kind of walking through some verses in the Bible. We used the book of John, and now we're into the book of Timothy as discipleship text. And here we're going to jump into the middle of a conversation that's going on between Paul and Timothy. Paul being the elder statesman and Timothy being the younger pastor. And he's in the middle of a discourse where he's giving good instructions to this new pastor about the way things should be run in a church. And we all do need to be discipled, all of us, even us pastors. We've got to have a group of people around us that, the Bible tells us iron sharpens iron, so that we can discuss things with, and it's always a good idea to bounce ideas off each other. When we get together as pastors, we don't talk about specific people, but we talk about situations, and it's always nice to have some godly counsel. So this is the godly counsel that Paul is giving to Timothy. And remember, we're jumping into the middle of a discourse about conduct within the church. And I believe that this chapter break, is really not in a great place. I'm going to start chapter 6, verses 1 and 2, which really goes with the conversation that's going on in chapter 5. And there it says, "Let all who are under a yoke as bondservants regard their own masters as worthy of all honor, so that the name of God and the teaching may not be reviled. Those who have believing masters must not be disrespectful on the ground that they are brothers. Rather, they must serve all the better, since those who benefit by their good service are believers and beloved." Like I said, here we jump into the middle of a conversation that's going on from chapter 5. And if you haven't seen, I broke chapter 5 up into a couple different sections. And in the heading in my Bible, it's instructions for the church. So it's very obvious to me that there were some people that were in the church that were bondservants and some that were masters. And it was possible to have a servant sitting next to his master in those churches in that day, in the early church. You became a bondservant. You sold yourself into slavery when you found yourself in a very precarious situation, when you couldn't pay your own bills. You would sell yourself into slavery. And that's what the bondservant here is. And it really was a way to get out of it. You couldn't declare bankruptcy. This was declaring bankruptcy in their day. So they would get out from under a load of debt by selling themselves into slavery. And remember that in the Jewish culture with the Israelites, that term was only for a period of about 7 years or less, depending on when the year of Jubilee was, or every 7 years that they would set their slaves free. Especially those that were sold into slavery. Regard their own masters as worthy of all honor. And why do you do that? And in the next line it says, so that the name of God and the teaching may not be reviled. If you were considered a Christian, they didn't want you to look very badly by not being good at whatever you were doing. Elsewhere in the Bible it tells us that everything that we should do for the honor and glory of God, even if that means being a slave and being a good slave. And then there's this caveat. Those who have believing masters must not be respectful on the ground that they are brothers. There's a difference there when you see your master also as your brother. And being selfless, serving people is what it's all about. You need to do that and do it to the best of your abilities, so that you draw people in. We need to be winsome people, so that they say, hey, that guy has something different. And then that gives us the opportunity. Why are you so different than other people? You can say, it's because I'm a follower of Jesus Christ. It gives you an opportunity to share Christ with people. So remember that we've got to be discipling and being discipled. It's a good reminder that that we need to be pouring into people and being poured into. Surround yourself with some people that could give you good, godly counsel, and then we need to listen to that counsel, apply it to our lives, and change our behaviors because of it. So for Discipleship Today, my name is Pastor Bob Benson. Thank you for watching.